This video will talk about navigating Xfoil's menu hierarchy. How do we go up a level? How do we go down a level? How do we get around this thing called Xfoil? That's what this video is for. This is part of a series on Xfoil designed to bring you from absolute beginner to subject matter expert. This series is brought to you by The Science of Light, a new brand here on YouTube dedicated to aerospace engineering, education, and software. Let's get to it. As mentioned in a previous video, Xfoil is arranged into a hierarchy of menus. Now, these menus are nothing more than an organizational method to group together similar commands or scripts or code or method, whatever you want to call them. The menus are just an organizational method to group together similar commands based on the task that you're trying to perform on the airfoil. So, for example, if I had the task of changing the airfoil shape, I would do that by manipulating the geometry of the airfoil. I might want to change its thickness. I might want to change the location of the maximum camber. I might want to do multiple things. So if I had that task, I could go to the menu that is there to design the geometry of the airfoil, and when I go to that menu, I can find all of the commands, all of the scripts, or all of the different options I have available for manipulating the geometry. So in this case, that would be the GDES, or geometry design menu that you see there in the tree. So if I go to that menu, I can find all the commands that I need to be able to perform that task, right? So this is Xfoil is a hierarchy of menus that contained commands based on what task you want to perform. So what you see here on the screen is a tree of the different menus. These aren't the commands. So each of these circles, each of these menus that you see here on the tree would actually contain its own list of its own commands or scripts. So since Xfoil is arranged into this hierarchy of menus with the different commands on different menus depending on where you're at, it becomes important to know how to navigate this tree. And navigating is nothing more than going either up a level or down a level, right? So let's say I was performing the task where I was designing the geometry of the airfoil, right? I'm in the GDES menu, but I'm wanting to go over now and do some analysis. I want to go over to the operating menu. I would need to know how to go up from the GDS menu and then go down into the oper menu. That's where I find the commands I need to perform the analysis, right? So how do we go up a level? In Xfoil, you go up a level by simply hitting the enter button. Now, if you have something written on the command prompt, right, if the command prompt is not empty, then it will try and execute whatever's typed there if you hit enter, right? So if I had just gibberish written down, just a couple letters, and I hit enter, it will try and find the command on the menu I'm at to perform that command that I tried to enter in. However, if I leave the command line blank or backspace these letters that are there and then hit enter, then you'll see that it'll take you up a level. Now, to go down a level is pretty easy. You just have to, at the command prompt, type in the menu name and hit enter, right? So if I'm at the Xfoil or top level menu, and I'm wanting to go to the operating menu, the OPER menu, at the command prompt, I would type in OPER and hit enter. Now this isn't case sensitive, so caps lock, not caps lock, it's all good. But if I type in the name of the menu and hit enter, it will drop me down into that menu. And when I'm in that menu, I have access to different commands. Now, since the commands are different depending on what level of them, or what level of the tree or what menu you're on, it's one of the probably most powerful tips or tricks that you can know when you're getting started with Xfoil is how to display a list of the available commands based on the menu you're in. And that is done simply by typing a question mark at the command prompt and hitting enter. If you do that, then it will spit out a list showing you all of the available submenus, all of the available commands at that level for you to be able to perform whatever task you need to do or navigate to a different menu. So those are kind of the three big ones when it comes to the menu hierarchy, navigating through it, the menu hierarchy. To go up a level with the command line blank, you hit enter. To go down a level, you type in the name and you hit enter. And if you are wanting to know the different things that are available on the menu you're at, just type in the question mark and hit enter. On this slide, we're going to briefly look at the command prompt and the command list. Now this command list is just the list of submenus and commands that Xfoil spits out if you enter the question mark at the command prompt. And we'll look at the different pieces of this and see what information can be gleaned from these different components. So starting right here on the left with the command prompt, I guess I should briefly explain what a command prompt is. I know. Just for those who might not be familiar with what a command prompt actually is, a command prompt style program is different from a graphical user interface in that to perform tasks you need to, at the command prompt, type in what command you're wanting to be performed along with any parameters that you would like it executed as. So for instance, if I was wanting to perform an analysis of an airfoil at 5 degrees angle of attack, and I knew that the command to do that was alpha, and that I could feed it a parameter of degrees, then if at the command prompt I typed in alpha space 5 and hit enter, the program will actually perform that task, the analysis at 5 degrees angle of attack, based on the command that I entered at the command prompt. Now, nowadays, this is usually handled by buttons on the top ribbon of the software you're using, or it might be inside a menu, like the file, edit, insert. These would all be kind of menus that might have these graphical buttons in it. So that's what graphical user interface is versus a command line prompt. All right. Hopefully I didn't make anyone feel too old in the video. So anyway, getting back to it, command prompt. Now the command prompt, as you see, will be that lowercase c with the caret or the less than sign, greater than sign next to it. On the right is where you type in what command you want. But however, on the left, you actually will see what menu you currently reside in. So on the first line right there, you see when I started up Xfoil, I am defaulted into the top level or the Xfoil menu, so that's why to the left of the command prompt you'll see the menu name Xfoil. Now let's say that I wanted to go to a submenu, go to the submenu for performing analysis, the OPER menu, and I typed in OPER and I hit enter at the command prompt. You'll see that I got dropped into the lower level command, or lower level menu, excuse me. As you can see to the left of the command prompt there on the second line, you'll see the period OPERI, and this is telling me that I am now currently in the OPER menu. I'm no longer in the top level Xfoil, I'm down a level into the OPER menu. So this is going to have different commands or different submenus that I could enter there at the command prompt. Now, in case you forget what level you're at, that's what the period is for. So there's one period, which means I'm down one level. If I here at the OPER command prompt, if I entered into a sub menu of this menu, then I'd be getting down 2 layers from the top level, and so I would see 2 periods there. So that's kind of what's happening to the left of the command prompt. Now, I also included here this I on the OPER menu because this screws up plenty of people when they forget whether they're in inviscid or viscous mode. That's what that I is there for. So right now you're defaulted into the inviscid analysis. So if I was wanting to change this and make it a viscous analysis, I would have to use a command to change from inviscid to viscous. So that's what that I is there on the OPER menu. It's kind of a unique thing for OPER. So that's the command prompt. Now let's say I was at the OPER menu right there and I typed in the question mark and I hit enter. Then I would see Xfoil spit out above the command prompt, above the new command prompt that follows, this list of commands and sub menus that you see here on the right. So let's look and see what we have there. Now it's you'll see there's 2 lines there at the top. Those are kind of they change a little bit depending on menu. It's just reminding you right there that if you hit the return button, then you would return to the top level. And there's this really cool exclamation point command which will let you redo the last analysis you did. That's not something that is in every menu, so you might just check there might be some special features in different menus. But getting down into the actual list of commands and menus, as you can see, it's pretty much broken up into 3 different columns. The first column would be the name of the command or the name of the menu. The second column that you can see there with the R's and the I's, that is the I'll call it the parameter column, right? So what parameters the command is executed at, and then the right is going to be the description of that command or of that menu. So the way that you can tell the difference between a command and a menu is that the menu is going to have a period in front of it, like you see there with the VPAR, VPAR. That has a period in front of it, so I know that's going to, if I typed in VPAR and hit enter at the command prompt, it's going to drop me into the lower level menu named VPAR, right? So then I would be 2 levels down because I'm already 1 level down being in the OPER menu. So if I typed in VPAR and hit enter, I'd be dropped down into this another lower level of the VPAR menu, and there, like you see in the description, I can change some of the boundary layer parameters. So that's how you can see on that list what the lower level menus are that are available on the specific menu you're at. Now, the one other thing that happens in this first column of the names of either the commands or the menus is that there is functionality in Xfoil to have shortcuts. Basically, this means that, like shown right there with the alpha, if I didn't want to have to type out ALFA at the command prompt, I could just type in A. The reason for that is because the A is capitalized and the rest of the letters are not. So basically the way the shortcut works is that if the entire word is in caps, like ITER in that list, I would have to type in the entire command. However, if there is lowercase letters like VISC, meaning short for viscous, then if I just typed in V and hit enter, it would be the same thing as if I typed in VISC. So that's what the shortcut is, right? So because alpha has a capital A, then a lowercase LFA, I don't have to type in the whole command. I can just type in A and it would perform that command. And keep in mind that it is case insensitive, so it doesn't have to be a capital A. I can type in a lowercase a and it'll do the same thing. So that's one of the shortcuts. And for the second column, this is the parameter column. The letter that you see there just tells you what kind of a parameter is. I have a list of available parameters here with integer, real, file name, character string. So this would be the kind of the parameter at which the command is executed. So continuing with the alpha command, if I wanted to perform the alpha command at 5 degrees angle of attack, then I could type in alpha space 5 and hit enter. Or I could type in, if I was doing the shortcut, I could type in A space 5 and then enter, and then it will perform the alpha command at 5 degrees angle of attack. If I wanted to do it at 10, then I'd type in alpha space 10 and hit enter, or A space 10 and enter. So that's what that second column is. It's telling you what parameters you need to enter. So for instance, on the A sequence, right, this is a sequence of alphas, so it's going to iterate through a number of them. You'll see there's 3 R's there, right? And so those 3 R's are pretty much what angle of attack you want to start the sequence at, or the sweep of alphas at, which one do you want to end at, and what's the increment between them. So you can, it has 3 different parameters that you would feed in. Now what's nice is that if you forget to feed in the parameter, Xfoil would spit out a prompt asking for the value, right? So if I just typed in ASEQ for the sequence of alphas without actually typing any numbers with it, I would then receive a prompt asking me at what angle of attack do I want to start. I type in 5, or I type in 1 and hit enter, then it'll ask me what angle of attack will I want to end the sequence at. I type 10 and then it would ask me what increment I want to use, and I type in 0.5, and so then it would run through a sweep from 1 to 10 in half degree increments. So that's what the second column is. The third column just is the description. All right, we're going to go ahead and end the video here. It's a little bit longer than what I was aiming for. However, the increased clarity and better descriptions I was able to do with the increased time, I feel was definitely value added for those who might just be starting out with Xfoil and not know what's going on. You know, I remember I was kind of like that when I first opened up Xfoil, and I'm like, what the heck is this? What do I do? How do I do anything? So I definitely feel it was value added for the beginner. However, in the future, I'm going to try and kind of keep these videos down to about 10-12 minutes, you know, maybe 15 on the upper end. Just it makes them more manageable. You know, it's easier to search through them if you're looking for a particular topic that you just want to kind of go through real quick. So I'll try and keep them down, keep them short, just to make them a little bit easier to get through. All right, so the next video, we are going to discuss kind of the getting started aspects of Xfoil. You know, where do I find the download files? How do I get it onto my personal computer, installing it? How do I open it? Kind of that getting started aspect with Xfoil. So if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, I will see you in the next video.